BBC News. The High Court has dismissed a claim that the government's so-called bedroom tax discriminates against disabled people in social housing. A group of 10 disabled people had argued that because they needed extra space, the cuts for claimants with spare rooms were a breach of their human rights. But their lawyers have pledged to fight on and to take their case to the Court of Appeal. Well, speaking after the ruling, one of the lawyers had this to say.
Our clients are bitterly disappointed with today's decision, but they're not defeated. We, along with the other lawyers acting on behalf of adults with disabilities, will appeal the judgment, and we remain confident that the discrimination which was recognised by the court and which has been perpetrated against our clients by this legislation is not justified and is unlawful. We welcome the decision by the court to find the families of children with disabilities must be awarded housing benefit for the number of rooms they actually need. The government must now introduce regulations to this effect. We argue strongly that this same provision should be in place for families who need extra living space for an adult with disabilities. Many people are suffering great mental and physical torment through the imposition of these welfare reforms. The need for resolution is urgent. The government's attempts to pass the buck to local authorities to deal with the unfairness and discrimination of the bedroom tax using discretionary housing payments is not acceptable. The amount of money provided by the government for these payments is nowhere near adequate to prevent large numbers of disabled people losing their homes. One of our clients with disabilities is currently facing eviction due to the fact he can no longer pay his rent. There can be no doubt that this legislation targets and penalises the most vulnerable in society, and we believe we will ultimately have it overturned by a court of law.
Well, that's one of the lawyers representing the group of 10 disabled people challenging those changes to the benefit system. And on behalf of the government, the Work and Pensions Minister Esther McVey had this reaction. She welcomed the High Court ruling.
This isn't an easy decision. When the country was left in incredible debt, you have to take difficult decisions. And this has gone through a lot of reviews. It's gone through a lot of, decision making. And it's taken a long period of time. We've just got to make sure that we get it right for disabled people in the country as a whole. And that's why we've trebled the discretionary housing payments. And can I also say that there are 2 million people nearly on housing waiting lists. They too will have disabled people who will be waiting. There are 250,000 people in overcrowded homes. Those too will have disabled people there and the children. So we have to look at it in the round on how best, and it is about how best we help all disabled people and really do fulfil our duties, which the court has agreed that we have done.
That's Esther McVey there, the Work and Pensions Minister. Well, meanwhile, one couple affected by the changes have been giving their reaction to the ruling to our correspondent, Jenny Hill.
It's an absolute travesty of justice. I'm shocked.
Just remind everyone why this spare room is so important to you.
Because I have to have a special mattress for a hospital bed, and it means that Jason has to sleep in another room.
And at the moment, because this is deemed an extra room, you're having to pay extra, aren't you? I know that the government has given some money to people in circumstances like yours, and that means at the moment you're not having to pay the extra. Why is this still such a problem for you? Why have you fought this battle?
Well, we've only got it in another few weeks, and then it's run out, and there's nothing more in the pot from sources I've talked to. So we're going to be back to square one, and I mean, we can't afford it the way we are to lose £50 a month, but well, 60 really, because of the council tax changes as well.
Charlotte, I can see you're very upset by this. What does this mean for you now? What happens next?
I don't know really. We're just going to have to do appeal on the decision, and
why the appeal? Why not just accept the judgment and try to carry on?
Well, that's what we'll have to do if it, obviously we'll do that anyway. Have to.
Well, this is what way of life we're defending, like a way of life.
So you don't feel you have a choice but to keep appealing?
Yeah, we'll keep appealing and take it all the way we can.
That's one family affected by today's ruling.
Now, Barclays is to issue almost